it was brought up recently because of the Buffalo game, the Michigan State game at Anderson Arena. I think you had said it was maybe the biggest game you've been a part of, obviously, at Bowling Green. Your thoughts coming to Bowling Green as a kid and then taking on a ranked team like Michigan State, and not only taking them on, beating them at home. Was that, as a basketball player at Bowling Green, was that your best moment?
That was definitely one of my favorite moments of being a part of that. I was a sophomore on that team, so I didn't really understand the magnitude of the game or how big everything was at the time. It was just more like, hey, I'm just going out to play. And it was the same when we went AAU. We had a really good AAU team, and you'll play against other guys, and you kind of know who they are, but you really don't know. It was just more like, let's go out and play. And it was the same thing, going out, and then you hear Steve Smith, you see him on the TV all the time, and you know who he is, but it was more, for me, fun. It was just like, I'm going to get a chance to play against Steve Smith. This is fun. Like, I don't mind this, and that's what it was. But just the atmosphere, I just remember that atmosphere that we had, and all the students. And Anderson, the sideline was here. You could put your feet out and trip somebody on the sideline. That's how close it was in Anderson. So that's what made Anderson so special. They were right on top of you, all the students. And we didn't have the social media and all the stuff, all the different distractions that we have now back then. So everyone came to the game. That was it. They came in pajamas and things like that. That what made it fun, is like to see the students get out of bed and walk right across to Anderson, and we had a packed house no matter who we played.
Right.
Now is with all the difference in the social media and everything, it's good on one hand, but it's also bad on the other, because they have so many other things that they can do that, basketball is kind of more secondary. But against Buffalo, we were able to pack the Stro, and it definitely reminded me of Anderson when I noticed that during introductions, we turned down the lights and I could see the students hanging from the top, and that's when I said that this is like Anderson. We finally got the Stro looking like Anderson. So it was a lot of fun, a great atmosphere. We were able to win both games, so I guess I was a part of two of the biggest games in Bowling Green history. So it was a lot of fun, and wouldn't trade it for the world.
I asked you about a good memory, maybe a not so good memory. Your senior year, you go play against one of the most storied starting fives in the history of college basketball, the Fab Five up in Michigan at Chrysler, and you guys actually had a lead on them in there in the first half. What do you remember about that game? I
remember how big they were. That was the first thing that came to mind. They were huge. Yeah. And when you see them on TV and it's like, oh, they're not that big.
Right.
Then you get on the court and like Jalen Rose is 6'8", and Jimmy King is 6'6", and Chris Webber is 6'9", and Juwan Howard is 6'10", and you see them like, holy smokes, these dudes are big, Yeah. Ray Jackson, he's 6'5". So it's like you see these dudes and it's like, they're so big. That was the first thing. Second thing was we can play with them. Yeah. That was the thing that, stood out right there, was we can play with those guys. We had a younger team at that time, but we were able to kind of keep it close throughout. I think we wound up losing by 12 points at the end, but we had it close throughout, and we played them well. We had opportunities, and we just didn't make the most of it. But it was a fun game to be a part of, and you can look back and say you played against the Fab Five.
Oh, yeah, and well, actually, you won now.
Yes.
I mean, that's gone. That game's gone.
Yes.
As it got wiped out. None of the kids that you have on your team have NCAA experience. You do with that run and coaching. A couple of them, it's with two different teams. What do you bring, or what do you share with those guys to be able to make? I mean, it's been a long time. You know this more than anybody. It's been a long time since a BGT. But the comparisons have been made this year. I mean, with that 10-game win streak, we've heard back. The names have been echoed. Butch Colby. I mean, it's just everybody's talking about how great this team has been compared to the teams in the past. Do they have a chance to be even greater as we get closer to the tournament?
We take it one game at a time. I don't even look that far. That's too far down the road to start thinking about that.
Too early to make the Nate Thurman, DiMaggio Wiggins comparison, right?
Way too early. I think he's about 1,000 rebounds too early.
I mentioned DiMaggio. I mean, obviously a kid that we have followed since he was a kid at Springfield High School. You get the job at Bowling Green, you give him the offer, and he's there. What did you see in DiMaggio as a freshman coming into Bowling Green? Did you see him doing what he is doing, among the top rebounders in the nation here now as a senior?
When one of my teammates told me about DiMaggio Wiggins when I was down in Miami, and he said, you know, he might be good enough to play down in Miami. And once I got the job here, my teammate and I spoke, and once we sat down, he said he's still available. So I said, hey, I'll go see him. You know, if you said he's good enough for Miami, he definitely should be good enough for me at Bowling Green. I remember going to see him in a workout. Joplin was his coach, Stan Joplin, and we went down and met with him. And I watched the workout, and I saw big hands and a big butt. And I said, he might be able to rebound well. That's what I saw. I said, he might be a great rebounder. And that was the first thing I saw. I said, we have to develop him.
Right.
It's something that we have to do. We have to develop him. But I'm looking for size. He has the right size, 6'8", 6'9" at the time. And thin, you know, I thought he was thin. He was only maybe 215 pounds. So thought he was light, but I saw potential in hands and butt and feet, and I was like, he might be able to move some people.
Yeah.
And he chose to come to BG. The first thing I thought was we'll redshirt him. We'll redshirt him, but still not really seeing my team. I haven't seen those guys play or any of that stuff, so I don't know what he's going to do. I just thought we'll have to redshirt him. As we got along, I remember the first thing, everyone in Toledo laughed at me like, this dude don't know what he's doing. You know, there's no way you taking this kid. He averaged 12 points. He's terrible. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's like, he is terrible. There's no way you should take this kid.
Right.
And I just remember seeing that and hearing that the whole time. And it's like, whew, I like him. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks of the kid. If he fits what I do and what we do, then that's all that really matters. We'll make it work. And so I remember taking him, and it's like, you see him, and it's like, oh man, we really gonna have to redshirt this kid. He's not strong enough, he's not big enough. But as time went on, he developed. He learned the game. He learned how to play. He learned our style, and he kind of moved ahead of the older guys. And that's, you're trying to play the best guys that's gonna help you win the game. And he moved further ahead as the season went along and became a starter. He averaged 4 points and 4 rebounds as a freshman. I told him there's no expectation. I just want you to go out there and play as hard as you possibly can. Give me whatever you can, and you know we'll make it happen. And he's going against Johnson and those dudes out in Akron and Jimmy Hall, and they're monsters. They're grown men, and they're killing him. I mean, they're licking their fingers. They see him. It's like, oh, I'm going to eat all day with this one. And he gave enough resistance that he can help us a little bit. And, I mean, that's all I could ask as a freshman. And that summer, put on some weight, got a little bigger, a little stronger, worked on his game, worked on his jump hook. As a sophomore, averaged 10 and 6. So after that season, I said, now comes expectations. I said, people are expecting you to do this now. This is not something that whatever you give me is pretty good, we'll take it. Now it's expectations. You know, we seen it. Now we expect you nothing less than 6 and 10. You know, you can't do it now.
Right.
Junior year, great year. Wound up averaging a double-double. And that was the breakout year for him. Worked on his free throws. As a freshman, he shot, I want to say, 36%. Sophomore was up to about 50. Junior year was up to about 58, and now he's up in the 70s. So he's made a big jump each year. He's made that jump in rebounding and scoring. So this year he's averaging a double-double again. So he turned out to be a special one, and he put the work in. We gave him a blueprint of this is what you need to do, and he followed the blueprint, and that's the success that he has today. And he worked extremely hard. He put a lot of hours in. Mom and dad helped him out a lot in doing different things, and you know, that's the reason why he's successful.
You obviously were successful as well. We mentioned that, but you've also have Anthony Stacey on your staff, who, you know, I got a chance to cover when he was back here, and obviously he was one of the greatest to ever play at Bowling Green. Every team is, you know, important to a coach and the coaching staff, but given the fact that you're an alum, Anthony Stacey's an alum, and two of the best to have ever played here, does it mean more to you to win here than maybe, you know, it would at a school that you did not go to, that you did not have the tie to?
Well, it's always important to win. I mean, that's what you're here for. That's the experience that you get, and just to have that opportunity to come back to a place that you love, where you've grown, where you meet your wife and your future wife and all of the other stuff here at Bowling Green. So it's just so much fun to be back and, getting closer to that opportunity. And I think Coach Stacey understands that just as well. I'm sure he's excited, just as I am, to have another opportunity to do something that we couldn't do as players. So that's the part that makes it special, but is more special not just for me as a coach, but for them as players, just to experience that joy of going to the NCAA tournament. So that's what it's about.
It's fun, but it is also more pressure because you were an alum, because you were one of the best players to play here.
No pressure at all. This is something that's fun that I expect to do. I mean, that was my goal in taking the job, and it hasn't changed. It's to get Bowling Green back to the NCAA tournament. You look up every day, we see it, 1968. It's a long time. So with the opportunities that we have and the team that we have, I think we have a real good shot.